Football field. He was injured on a punt return. Officials say the death of the student player was an accident. He suffered a neck fracture. Investigators say that they have not found any evidence that suggests that his equipment was broken or ill-fitting. His funeral is scheduled for tomorrow. And because of that, we're concentrating on head and neck injuries. They can happen on and off the football field, but in other sports as well, basketball, volleyball, baseball. And joining us this morning in the studio is Dr. Jose Posas, an Ochsner Neurologist, with some advice on concussions for parents. And, you know, it's a decision that parents have to make if they want their children in sports. I know even some football players have said they really don't want their kids playing football.
That's right. The issue ends up being here that it's risk reduction, not elimination, with all the rules and safety and the gear that people are wearing. This is certainly a tragedy that happened this weekend, and the anti-spearing rules went into effect, anti-spear tackling rules went into effect into the early 2000s, and the incidence of this has lowered, but that doesn't mean it's been completely eliminated.
And when we say it's been lowered, how much are we talking about of lowering? Is it significant?
Absolutely. There's been a significant risk reduction, but again, the issue ends up being we can't completely eliminate risk when people are running full speed at each other, even with defensive gear on.
Yeah, and as long as in a sport like football or some other contact sport, you're going to have injuries.
Absolutely. The issue with concussion is that people put a lot of the spotlight on football, but we need to look at all sports played, and it doesn't have to be a contact sport to become injured. Think about the cheerleaders who go up in the air and land accidentally on the ground or on their other teammates.
And so if your child is in a sport like football or even baseball or some other sport where he or she can be hit, when do you realize or when do you know that your son or daughter's had a concussion?
That's an excellent question. You have to think to yourself, are there problems with the way they rest? Are there problems with the way they react? Are there problems with the way they resist physical symptoms? And are there problems with the way that they're able to cope with emotional issues? So there are numerous types of symptoms that occur with concussions, and at different ages can appear completely different.
And they have changed some of the rules on what they'll ask players in the NFL and in high school and college football. If they've had a concussion, there's certain questions they have to answer.
Absolutely. The levels of sophistication of sideline assessment tools has certainly evolved in the last 5 to 10 years. There are a lot of computer-based neurocognitive testing tools that have come about, but again, they are still all tools that require someone who's qualified to deal with head injury to deal with these things and have a suspicion of, all right, this is a concussion, all right, now you've recovered and it's time to go back into the game safely.
And then again, it's not just in sports. I mean, a child could pass out and fall on the floor and suffer concussion and not even know it.
The incidence of head injury and motor vehicle accident is astoundingly high. We think of ourselves as being safe in these cars with high safety ratings, but the fact is human error is still to be blamed in some of these injuries.
But again, look at the warning signs.
The warning signs of concussion can be things like headaches, irritability, difficulty with cognitive tasks such as school,